Jason Moore, and I go to First VA. And I know many of you recognize a lot of you from camps and stuff, and so I'm excited to be here tonight. When they first asked me to speak, they said, you're going to be speaking on community. And so, like every good red-blooded American, what do you think I did? I Googled it, you're right. I Googled, how did Jesus build community? And this is what happened. I got 68 million responses in less than 5/10 of a second. And I thought, whoa, that is a lot of information about how Jesus built community. That's too much for me to comprehend. But it's a little bit like community, because sometimes community is hard to comprehend, right? It's easy to talk about, hard to execute. Right? So like Jonathan was pointing out when he was standing up here singing, he said when he was asking what churches were represented, and there were shouts from certain pockets of the room, right? Why were we sitting with our youth groups? They're our community, right? We've already established community with those folks. So what tonight we hope to start and to build upon is establishing a broader community, right? To expand what we've already got started, but it's tough, right? It's hard to build this community. So Jesus was faced with this exact challenge, right? He built his community first by inviting the disciples, right? And so, as I was reading through that story again about how the disciples were invited, it always makes me think, right? Has anyone ever asked somebody to do something? Like go to church, or go to youth group, or maybe, go help you move, right? Or, and I always wonder, because anytime I ask somebody to go to church, or come to my Sunday school class, or come to youth group, right? How many of you have ever gotten a no response? So I was reading the Bible and thinking about Jesus asking the disciples, and I thought, I wonder how many people he asked to be his disciples that said no. Well, the Bible doesn't speak to that, but I can tell you this, in my experience, right? Anytime that I ask somebody to do something, I don't always get a yes. So I'm going to guess, maybe, well, Jesus clearly probably better at asking than I am, but I'm going to guess that he might have had a failure or two in asking somebody to do that. And they didn't ever make the Bible because they weren't his disciples. So I kind of wanted us to think about what that looks like. What would our success rate look like? How can we get more successful at building community? How can we anticipate what that would look like? Well, I'm going to take you back a couple of years ago, actually 15 years ago, and maybe a couple months to be exact for me. Some of you weren't even born yet. Who wasn't born 15 years ago? Oh, man. Okay, these shorts are 15 years old. So, all right. So, 15 years ago, my wife and I, we have 4 boys, and we were planning a family vacation. All right, so one of my favorite parts about vacations, not that we ever take one anymore, but one of my favorite parts about vacations is that anticipation, right? So we were going to Orange Beach, Alabama. And so we were driving from Tulsa. We were going to go by and pick up my mother-in-law. That's okay, too. So we're going to pick up my mother-in-law. And we were meeting my wife's twin sister and her husband and her 2 kids. And we were going to have this really cool vacation in Orange Beach, Alabama, right on the beach and Gulf Shores and all that stuff. So there was a lot of anticipation about how that would look and what that would be like. And we were excited about it. You go get to buy a new swimsuit, or, go get to get new things. You get to get online and look and see what the hotel looks like, how close it is to the ocean, and think about all that anticipation of what that's like. So we get to Orange Beach, and we start the vacation. And all about the 3rd day, the 3rd morning, I am so tired, I can't get out of bed. And not like tired because I spent all this time on the beach and I was swimming and sunburned and all that stuff. This is a little different. I was so tired that I literally could not get out of bed because I was too weak. And we're here on vacation. And I was thinking, this is not how this should go. This is not what I anticipated happening. And so I didn't really know how to react to that. Well, your youth leaders have been anticipating this day for a while, right? They've been wanting this day to happen. Look, they got a name, right? They got a slide, right? There's a gaga pit out there with probably food, right? There's things that they've been anticipating and doing in preparation for this, right? And they're hoping that it will go well. Just like Jesus, when he was anticipating what would happen with his disciples as he was sending them out to make a larger community. I want to read real quickly in Luke chapter 9. We're going to read verses 1 through 5 as he talks about what happens as he's anticipating sending these men out to further build community. And so this is what it says in Luke 9, 1 through 5. It says, Jesus now called the 12 and gave them authority and power to deal with all the demons and cure diseases. He commissioned them to preach the news of God's kingdom and heal the sick. And he said, don't load yourselves up with equipment. Keep it simple. You're the equipment. And no luxury inns to stay in. Get a modest place and be content there until you leave. And if you're not welcome, leave town. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and move on. See, I think sometimes, I just love what Jesus says there, because sometimes we try to make community harder than it really needs to be. So like, I don't know about you guys, if you guys have ever seen your youth leaders do anything like this when they're trying to build communities. Like they might have a bouncy house or hamburgers, right? Or we have this paintball and pottery, right? Or we have retreats or these things because all they're trying to do is what? Build community. They're anticipating what this community would look like. And they're trying to build it. And so we come up with all these elaborate schemes and we plan and we do all this. But what did Jesus tell the disciples? Keep it simple. Keep it simple. But oftentimes we want to make it some big, elaborate production. Well, that's what I wanted to do when I was on our vacation. I wanted to make it this big, elaborate production. You know, it was going to be super cool. The beach. All of my boys had never seen the ocean. And I was super excited, right? Well, it's Wednesday. Day 3 of the vacation. I literally cannot get out of bed. And my wife, Jeannie back there, tells me, you have to go to the doctor. Right? Jonathan has a good reaction. Because I'm a man and I go to the doctor when? Never. That's right. I don't ever go to the doctor. But as I was thinking about telling this story and talking about this for the first time in a while, something struck me. Jeannie saved my life that day. I have never told her, thank you for saving my life, but I want to tell her tonight, thank you for saving my life. I'm going to be like Brandon McCarthy. But she saved my life. She made me go to the doctor. Let me tell you what happened. We went. So she made me go to urgent care, not the real doctor. I was excited about that because urgent means you get in what, guys? 3 days. Exactly, 3 days. Right? So it technically means you get in quick. So we went to urgent care, and my recollection is that we were seen fairly quickly. And the doctor comes in, and he takes my vital signs, and he says, I'll be right back. Well, that's a little odd, right? He doesn't even tell me anything. He says, I'll be right back. He comes back in fairly quickly. He says, I need you guys to do something for me. I need you to go down here to this internal medicine doctor right down the street. Okay, that's a little odd. But what? It's a doctor, so you what? You do what they tell you, man, no matter what it is. So Jeannie and I get in the car, and we drive down to the internal medicine doctor's office. And we walk into his office, and there's literally about 20 people in the waiting room. So what's my first thought? Right? And so we walk up to the window or the counter there, and I said, hey, Jeannie probably had to talk. But we said, hey, right, it's Jason Moore right here. And she says, come on back. Well, that's odd. Because there's a whole waiting room full of what? People. And like a nurse opens the door immediately and shuttles me right into the examination room. So I'm saying what? That's odd. Right? And the nurse comes in and she takes my vital signs. And this time she actually tells me what they are. Right? So my blood pressure is 40 over 20. And my heart rate's over 100. So now, for those of you that aren't like pre-med high school, right? Or junior high, those are bad. Alright, real bad. Like, you're getting ready to die bad. Right? And so the nurse tells me that, and I'm thinking, that's not good. That's probably bad, right? And of course then I said, that's odd. Right? Why would be that odd? Right? And so then she says, well, Mr. Moore, you're going to go straight to the hospital. Right? So, okay, that's the nurse, right? I'm going to wait for what? The doctor. So the doctor walks in. He takes my vital signs. Oh, the doctor also happens to be, the nurse happens to be the doctor's spouse. Just FYI. Found that out later. The doctor comes in and he says, you know what? He took my vital signs and everything. He goes, the nurse was wrong. I was like, yes. You're going straight to ICU. So, right? So here I am, right, in a town that I've never been to, with a doctor I've never seen, headed to an ICU at a hospital I don't even know the name of. I needed some Jesus right about then, right? I needed a community right about then. And it came in the oddest form. People I didn't really know. So we pull up to the hospital, and interesting, well, really, it was kind of odd. There's a man standing there with a wheelchair. Well, that's cool. It's a hospital, right? They got wheelchairs. I sort of opened my door barely as much as I could, right? And he says, Mr. Moore? Well, that's odd. I've been to the hospital multiple times, and rarely do they say, meet me at the door with a wheelchair. Right? So, okay, I got in. He took me immediately to ICU in what felt like 2 minutes. I had a gown on. Not sure how that happened. Right? And like there's like 4 or 5 caregivers, nurses, and people in the room, and the doctor walks in. Right? And guess what doctor it is? It's the internal medicine doctor who's left what? All his patients as practice, and he's come what? Take care of me. And he saw a need and what? Responded. He was called to action because he saw a need. And so he comes in, and they're starting to say things that are medical things that I don't really understand. I'm still semi-coherent, I think, right? And I kind of know what's going on. And then, all of a sudden, I look up, and some monitors begin to make some weird noises. Right? And all of a sudden, the room went from like 4 or 5 people to like 13. Let me just tell you, if you're in that situation, that's a bad sign. Okay? The more people, the the worse you are. I learned that later. I didn't know that at the time. And so my heartbeat was getting very erratic. And they were really worried about me. So they catheterized my heart. So if you don't know what catheterizing means, I'm going to try to give it to you in Jason's layman's terms. They stuck a needle in my heart. Alright? And so that's the way they could put medicine directly into my heart, into my bloodstream. And my heartbeat was still very erratic, and they were worried about me getting blood to my vital organs. And so they turned my head upside down, or my bed upside down. Didn't even know hospital beds did this. Apparently, there's some pins, and they pulled them out, and they spun me, and my head was down on the floor. And of course, what did I say? That's You guys are beginning to get it, right? And so I said, that was odd. And so my head, right, I was looking at the ceiling then, and then the next thing you know, I'm looking at the what? At the wall. And I'm thinking, okay. And there's all these people, and it's getting pretty serious. And kind of what happened after that is they did stabilize me. I got to spend 8 days in ICU. About the third day, I actually figured out what town I was in. Right? I lost all the skin off my hands and feet. I lost all the hair under my arms. I had this really cool scar. It's like 5 inches long by 2 inches tall, and it came up right here on my chest. They have no idea why. It's like road rash. You know, like if you've ever fallen on the street and got a pavement burn, you know? That's what it was like. Except like on steroids. And I did all this, and then where am I? Alabama. On what?
Vacation.
Man, I needed some community tonight. So let me tell you what happens here while I'm going through this stuff in Alabama. My Sunday school class, they broke into my house. Literally what happened. They actually broke into my house. And they started to hold prayer vigils in my house. Right? And they knew that I was working on an entryway floor. I was going to put some hardwood floor down. And so they decided what? They just pretty much complete that entire project for me. Right? Because they saw a need and they what? They did. Right? And so, fast forward through some other interesting stuff that we don't have time to talk about. But we get home, right? And I am literally so weak that taking a shower makes me tired. That's not good. That's odd. Right? So, I took a shower one day. I'm laying in bed, and I hear a lawnmower. I'm thinking, dude, my neighbor's lawnmower is loud. What kind of thing does he have over there, right? And remember, like, you know, a lawnmower, if you're watching somebody mow the yard, right, it gets louder as it gets closer to you, and then what? You know, it's a little bit quieter as it gets wet. Well, this thing is just loud. So I muster up some kind of strength and pull myself out of bed, and I go to the window, and I just pull the shade down, and what do I see? 2 guys from my church mowing my yard. Has anyone ever said to somebody, man, if you need anything, give me a call? Anybody ever said that? Never do that again. Because here's what would have happened. Had Doug and Dwayne called me and say, Jason, can we mow your yard? What would I have said? I was literally tired taking a shower. And what would my response have been then? Nah! We'll get it, right? It'll get done, right? We'll do it, I'll do it, whatever. I would have said no. So instead of saying, right, hey, if you need anything, what? What could you do? So part of building a community, guys, is this. It's quite simply this. It's communicating with somebody, it's finding a need, and then it's filling that need. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need bouncy houses or hamburgers or gaga ball or anything else, right? What do you need? Talk to people, figure out what their needs are, and what? Do it. It's pretty simple, really. I'm going to tell you, a lot of crazy things happened to Jeannie and I during this time period. Money came in from places we didn't know. Cards and letters were sent from all over the place, thanking us and doing all these things. But I'm going to tell you this, the money's long been spent, the cards have been thrown away, but you know what I remember the most? 2 guys mowing my yard. You know how long they mowed my yard? Well, the rest of that summer, the entire next summer, and on into the 3rd summer. I'm going to tell you, probably by the next summer, I could what? I could mow the yard. I mean, it's going to wear me out, but I could what? I could mow the yard. But I didn't, right? Because they what? They saw a need, and they what? They did. Did they ever ask me? You know, the summer would roll around, and it's time to start mowing, and guess what I would hear? Yeah, the lawnmower, exactly. And I think, oh, my neighbor's mower sure is loud. And I go out there, and sure enough, it's what? Dug in the way. And they're mowing my yard. Yeah, you remember what Jesus told the disciples in Luke? Right? What did he tell them? Keep it simple. You don't need to memorize Scripture. You don't need to know the Bible forwards and back. You don't need to do all this fancy planning and do everything else. To build a community, all you got to do is what? Talk to somebody, figure out their needs, and do it. So I want you to think right now in your life, right? Do you know anybody that needs something? Maybe they need help in math. Maybe they need help with a relationship with their parents. Maybe they've got some messed up boyfriend, girlfriend stuff going on. Right? Maybe they need your help. What I would encourage you to do is what? Keep it simple. Find a need, what? Do it. It's not hard. So tonight, right, what I challenge you to do tonight is we all need to know each other's names. And we need to meet each other. Because what are we, I don't know, what's that sign say? So we're trying to build what, guys? A community, a larger community. To know what we really need to do, we need to talk to each other. We need to figure out what our needs are. And then we simply need to do it. It's not hard. It's not complicated. But it's tough to execute. Because often we feel like we don't know where to start. Well, Doug and Dwayne knew where to start, and they started with something they know how to do. Right? Most everybody in this room, minus my wife, can mow a yard. Right? She doesn't know how to start the mower. Right? Right?
If I learn how to do it, I might have to.
Okay. You just about have to. Right? And so, right? So it's not hard. Do what you know how to do. Right? Talk to somebody, figure out their needs,